You're welcome to Business Live. Before we get on with the show, though, let me take you a moment to tell you about the demise of former President Jerry John Rawlings. He died at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital here in Accra after a short illness, and the president has ordered flags to fly at half-mast. We will bring you special coverage of his demise on JoyNews Prime, which comes up in about 2 hours. But coming up in Business Live this evening, Ghana Standards Authority hints of league table to rank companies adhering to strict quality standards. We'll hear from the authority as Ghana joins the rest of the world to mark World Quality Day. Also, 13,000 businesses reconsider decision to close down due to COVID-19 pandemic. Details in second part of the Ghana Statistical Services Business Tracker Survey. Plus, we will tell you about the need for small and medium-sized enterprises to re-strategize to withstand competition during the Africa Continental Free Trade. And then later in the bulletin, Institute of Directors kicks against appointment of public sector chief executives ahead of the formation of boards. We will engage the institute. The details in a bit. Deputy Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Charles Amwako, indicated the issue of quality remains a concern to consumers and investors.
The issue of quality is very important in the provision of services to customers of products because it is quality that determines the level of satisfaction of customers of a product. Quality does not come by chance, but through the provision of certain ingredients that goes to satisfy customers who are prepared to patronize said goods and services. Business organizations cannot thrive successfully if they do not pay attention to quality. It is in the light of this that many business enterprises, organizations now pay serious attention to the issue of quality. Mr. Chairman, World Quality Day is an occasion that has been set aside to celebrate annually the importance of quality and the crucial role it plays in the production of goods and services. It is meant to serve as a deliberate occasion to promote quality management for the benefit of customers and society as a whole. It provides a great opportunity to place a focus on the spotlight relating to individuals, teams, and organizations that are vested in creating and improving customer value. World Quality Day 2020 is a great opportunity to shine the spotlight on individuals, teams, and organizations, as already mentioned. In Ghana, as we introduce and celebrate the first ever World Quality Day, we have settled on the theme, the role of standards in creating customer value. The theme is being celebrated in the context of the African Continental Free Trade that we are all joining come January 1st, 2021. A key requirement for Ghanaian industries to take their share of the competitive market is to be customer focused.
Business Tracker survey conducted by the Ghana Statistical Service indicates about 13,000 businesses which decided to close down as a result of the coronavirus pandemic have rescinded their decision. This is due to some interventions made by government and other sources. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kopna Enim told journalists in Accra the survey revealed there's been a reduction in the number of business closures over the period. More in the following report.
Findings from the second round of COVID-19 Business Tracker survey conducted between August and September revealed Ghanaian businesses are recovering, with many firms now fully reopened following the lifting of the country's partial lockdown. However, The results show that firms continue to report decline in sales, difficulty in sourcing inputs, and challenges in finding financial support to cover revenue shortfalls. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina Enim hinted that out of the 30,000 businesses that decided to close down during the first survey, 13,000 have reconsidered the decision in order to stay in business.
Again, we need to look at this in the context of the phrasing of the question which posed it to the firms, and with that sense of hopelessness within the COVID-19 or the peak of COVID-19, 30,000 of the firms had indicated that they were not going to reopen or they had closed down permanently. But going back to wave 2, we realized that some of them had reconsidered their decisions to close down permanently, or there were some interventions that had come their way, for which reason they thought that they could go back to their businesses. So we saw that 30,000, as at May-June 2020, had reached the conclusion that they were going to close down permanently, but by following them up in wave 2, based on the total number of firms that we have in the country, 17,000 of them had decided to close down permanently. What means that 13,000 out of the 30,000, we had a fraction that had reconsidered the decision to close down permanently.
More than half of businesses increased their use of digital money platforms to transact business, a significant jump from the previous findings which revealed that not many of such businesses were ready to embrace mobile money platforms.
I look at the responses of these firms from the perspective of how they are adapting different technologies to accommodate the impact that the restrictions on physical distancing or the scare that is associated with the health implications of COVID-19 had imposed on face-to-face and in-person engagement. And again, we realized that we still didn't have the expected engagement with technology from two perspectives. Again, from an all-firm perspective, while we observed close to 2/5 of all firms indicating that they had adopted the use of mobile phone as a coping strategy to mitigate the effect of in-person engagement. During the wave 2, this figure had gone up just by 13%. So we still had just about 50% or half of our firms that had adopted the use of mobile phone in the context where in-person and face-to-face engagement had been imposed on us. Again, this did vary significantly across the different subsectors. While in the other services subsector, we did record a very marginal, insignificant change between waves 1 and wave 2 of about just 0.4 percentage point, we recorded quite significant variations in other subsectors, with the accommodation and food subsector recording the highest variation of about 13 percentage point. That is, while we recorded 26.1 during the wave 1, in the wave 2 we recorded 40.8. This indicates a jump in businesses within the accommodation and food subsector using mobile money as an alternative to the restrictions or in response to the restrictions imposed by in-person engagement.
Meanwhile, about 46,000 businesses are still temporarily or permanently closed down months after the lifting of some restrictions by government.
Small and medium-sized enterprises will need to re-strategize to withstand external competition when the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is implemented. The agreement being rolled out from next year will allow free flow of goods among member countries. Though the agreement presents huge markets for all industries, competition in local markets is expected to increase. Naya Jima has more in the following report.
African countries currently trade only 15% of goods and services produced by member countries internally, compared to 55% traded in advanced economies in Europe and America. It is estimated the African Continental Free Trade Area, after 2 years of implementation, will raise internal trade to 52%. Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Robert Ahunka-Lindsay, wants local businesses to take advantage of government policies to prepare for the market. He spoke at a regional conference in Kumasi on the National Export Development Strategy and the implementation of the AFCFTA.
What is important to harness this is that we don't want to be doing the same thing we were doing before. We don't want to be selling cocoa beans to Cote d'Ivoire. First of all, they're not going to want it because they've got enough cocoa beans there. We want to be selling chocolate to them. So that is why the government policy of the industry, one district, one factory, industrial transformation becomes so key, so that you have products to sell. If you don't have the products to sell, what are you going to take advantage of? So it becomes very important how that is integrated.
The National Export Development Strategy, driven by the Ghana Export Promotion Council, is aligned to government's industrialization agenda to increase non-traditional exports revenue to over $25 billion in the next 9 years. Dr. Efua Asabia Asare is CEO of GEPA.
The NEDS has outlined strategic interventions that should be taken at the regional and district levels, particularly relating to supply capacity improvement of our major export products, which features prominently under Pillar 1 of the strategy document. Again, it is expected that each district in Ghana should develop at least one exportable product that will provide the needed raw materials to feed the over-expanding number of factories being established, and this is under GEPA's suggested one district, one product program.
Ashanti region, with its resources and proximity to the country's biggest export country, Burkina Faso, is tagged key to the success of the program. Board chairman of Ghana Export Promotion Council, Sandy Osei Ajaman, believes local businesses will have to improve their goods and services to stay afloat.
You only protect them if we make sure that they can compete with quality, they can compete with better packaging, they can compete with better understanding what the market is. If you don't do your job right, somebody from, say, Egypt, who has similar product, packaged well, will come out here and take your business. Nothing you can do about it. So that's why we're doing this sensitization program to let.
For JoyNews, Nana Ojima reporting.
The Institute of Directors Ghana has expressed worry about the practice where chief executives of state-owned institutions are appointed by the president even before their boards are formed. According to the institute's president, Roxing Dogbegam, such a decision defeats the purpose of corporate governance practice, since the board of directors is the focal point of the existence of these institutions. We're joined now via Zoom by the CEO of the Institute of Directors Ghana, Fred Ayite. Thank you very much for making time to speak with us. Now, you pronounced that the appointment of CEOs of state-owned enterprises before the boards are formed is not right and defeats the purpose of the establishment of the corporate governance structures. Please explain.
Well, I mean, I think that, like you rightly said in your introduction, it's clear that the board of directors is the focal point of the corporate governance system. And as a matter of fact, the shareholders sort of empower the board of directors, and then the board of directors are to ensure that they also delegate the authority to the management, which is led by the CEO. And so it's very important that we get the board put in place first, give them all the empowerment that they need, right? And then once they are well structured and as best practice and good corporate governance, right, then they will then go out and do the right due diligence and then appoint the right CEO, who then also together then they also appoint the management team, or they sort of establish that, so that you can sort of prevent possible challenges between the board and that of management. And so we're advocating for such sound and good corporate governance practice.
Are you saying then that you're expecting the power to appoint the CEO to be taken away from the president and given to the board? In which sense, in which case the board will be established by the president anyway, and then the board then appoints its own CEO. Is that what you're suggesting?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
But even then, even then, the president has a hand in who gets onto these boards. And so, in effect, the president is still indirectly appointing the CEO.
Fine, that's okay. But what we're advocating is the practice. Okay? Still, the president may have the interest there. But what is important is that the board, which is more of a higher authority in terms of the governance of the organization, must first be in place. We've got to also appreciate that if we don't get that done, right, then what will happen is that you will be getting a lot of conflict between the CEO and the board, or the management team and the board. And so it's the practice that we can do better. We can sort of improve on that.
All right, so is this to cure...
currently...
Yeah, is this to cure that problem where... Yeah, I'm asking, is this to cure the problem where you have the CEO feeling that, no, I'm not getting my authority or I'm not mandated by the board, and so you didn't appoint me, and so you can tell me what to do? Is that what you're trying to cure?
Well, not just that alone, but you've got to also understand the responsibility of directors in the Act 992 of 2019, the Companies Code. And it's clear that there are responsibilities of the directors. For the directors to do their job, they must also feel that, right, they have the responsibility over the management team. So you may cure a number of behavioral things that may happen if the CEO and the management team taking too much power beyond the board, because they believe very much that the appointing authority sits outside the board. What we need to do is that, yes, the president may have the interest, right, to ensure that the right CEO is appointed, but the better practice is to ensure that we empower the board of directors to do their job so that they are held accountable for the ultimate organizational success or failure.
Now, we're learning you have met the president on this matter. What has been his response?
Well, I mean, obviously, the president recognizes that while there is scope for some improvement in this area, of course, I mean, legally, the president of the state is mandated or is given the authority to do that. However, what we sort of discussed that with him, so he encouraged us that we have to continue with the advocacy. Yes, the road will be tough, though, but what is important is that he also is a main supporter of sound and good corporate governance. And so he encouraged us with this, and I believe very much that probably we'll be having some conversations depending on what is really available for him in terms of the operations of his team. But really, he recognizes the challenges that we could face. Nonetheless, he was supporting.
All right, what does your Institute's Code of Conduct corporate governance seek to do?
Well, so at the end of what it seeks to do is to also ensure that, right, in the corporate governance structure, it's important we understand that it also refers to the actions and the interactions, behaviors, right, of the organization and its actors. So the code of ethics or the code of conduct is to conduct the behavior of directors or our members, and also to ensure that they are doing what they are supposed to do, and they are doing that in the interest of the organization in terms of their fiduciary responsibility, among others.
All right, now, before you go, you're the first business sector person we're having to speak with on JoyNews since news broke of the demise of former President J.J. Rawlings. Do you have any thoughts to share on that?
Well, I do, and regrettably, we are very sad as well as an institute to hear the news this morning. It's sad for the state or for the country to have a statesman like the former president and the role that he has played in this country. And so we mourn and we feel so much for the family, and our hearts and prayers are with the family, and then also also with the state as well. And also we also said that because obviously the president is probably the major chief mourner of our former president passing on, and that is a very sad day, unfortunately. And we pray to God that he should comfort the family and also all of us as a nation.
All right, thank you very much. Fred Aite is with the Institute of Directors. Moving on, automobile companies in the country believe the implementation of the Customs Amendment Bill, which seeks to stop the importation of salvaged vehicles, is a step in the right direction and will boost the local automobile market. They made these comments on the sidelines of the launch of the new Nissan Patrol vehicle at Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel in Accra. Emma Davis has more in this report.
Regional Manager of Japan Motors West Africa, Imad Gorayev, said the bill will protect Ghanaian automobile dealers and reduce gory accidents on the roads, as well as environmental pollution. He's, however, optimistic that next year will be good for business, as his outfit is recovering fast from the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's for the safety, for the better safety of the Ghanaian people. We will not see anymore those terrible accidents on the roads where we have casualties and people losing their lives. Better for the pollution of the country, better for the economy of the country. Why should we be receiving the thrown away of other places? I don't get it.
Looks like it.
We deserve brand new vehicles. Don't we? Don't you agree?
The Ghanaian pocket cannot afford the brand new vehicle.
Well, once it's produced in Ghana, everybody should be able to afford it. We were affected badly with COVID-19, but we are recuperating quite fast, and I can see that the market is starting to boil again, as we can say. And I feel that next year, 2021, we're gonna go back on the sales and on the operation.
Managing Director of Japan Motors, Salem Kalmuni, also agreed that the Customs Amendments Bill is to the benefit of all Ghanaians. About import tax, he revealed that the initial stages of the implementation of Unipass caused a few challenges for his outfit, but things are normal now.
The ban on salvage cars is for the benefit of the motor consumer and the Ghanaian consumer. From reading in the press, the government is coming with its own definition of what is salvage, what is not salvaged. As the minister said, it will not be what the USA terms as salvage, but what here terms as salvage. And it's important that we drive, roadworthy cars, not heavily accidented cars. There are many, and that leaves the option for cars to come in. They're not banning used cars, only they have to meet certain standards, and it has to do with a big word called homologation, which means standards and specifications, meeting standards and so forth. And this is not only for used cars, even new cars coming in to Ghana have to meet those standards. At this moment there hasn't been a change in duties and taxes. So it's the same as it was before. There was some challenge when the new system came GCNet. I think it was a replacement to the GCNet. So for the first month, it was challenging. Cars were stuck at the port for a while. Unipass, that's the name. Yes. But since then, I think we've been through the learning curve. And I think things are normal now.
The Nissan Patrol is a niche vehicle limited in number for a targeted market. As a pure auto lover and a proud customer of Japan Motors, the CEO of Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Senyo Hosi, expressed his excitement at the new Nissan Patrol.
I am a big fan of the Nissan Patrol because it practically has no competitor. As far as I'm concerned, and for any real pure, auto lover, you should realize that the Nissan Patrol is for men and Land Cruisers are for boys. You understand? It's as simple as that. The sophistication with the Nissan Patrol is unmatched. You look at the hydraulic systems, you look at the safety systems, you look at the torque. The torque is unmatched. Land Cruiser, whatever it is, it can't match that power. It's a no question. And in this town, it was Nissan Patrol till recently. We started seeing Land Cruisers, coming around. But the features we have in the current patrols are just unmatched. The comfort, the suspension system. If you really want to test, take a Land Cruiser, try and drive fast over a ramp, and you see how the back will shake. Try that with the Patrol. It's as if you just went on the smooth surface. That is the power of the Patrol.
Well, that's it for Business Live. I'm Israel Live. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening. But we're having extended coverage of the demise of former President Rawlings on JoyNews Prime. Do make it.